Hello, I want to speak a little bit about something that's very close and dear to my heart, and my heart has been so heavy lately with all the news about Christian persecution. I want to spend just a few moments touching on that and see if we can't raise a little bit of awareness. I'm going to start with this post that I did this morning, and this picture just said it all to me as I was reading the Sermon on the Mount by Jesus in the Bible. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. We knew that we were going to be persecuted as Christians. Jesus warned us many, many times. He told us that we would be hated by all men for his name's sake, and we are. Even in this country, Christian persecution is humiliation, I guess, is a better way to say it. They're stripping us of all of our rights. They're pushing God out of our lives in the school, in the square, in the courthouse. Just the other day, a little boy was chastised for reading a Bible verse in school. And, talk about confusion with the children. I don't know. It's getting worse and worse. Anyway, this is about a video from a cleric in the UK. And sadly, this is the way that it is. I've spoken with people who have left Muslim-dominated countries, and they all say the same thing. What have we done? What did we do to deserve this? They can't speak to Muslims. They have to walk on different sides of the street. There are water coolers that are labeled for Muslims and for Christians. This is just, I don't know. It reminded me of the 50s in this country and the 60s with the civil rights movement. It doesn't even compare to what's going on as far as Christian persecution in other countries. I'm not going to play this video. I'm going to let you look at it. If you want, you can go to the blog and look at it. It's very eye-opening. But for 1 second, I want to look at there was over 200 girls in Nigeria that were recently kidnapped by the Boko Haram, and they have a video also of mocking the parents and the community and the Christian community, saying, we're going to sell these girls by Allah's word. It's time for a wake-up call. Okay, I moved over to another post that I did. It's called The Stench of Death Grows, Hundreds Killed in a Boko Haram Attack in Nigeria. There have been so many attacks recently in Nigeria, and so many hundreds of people killed. This one attack, they said when it first came out, killed about 300. And as I was just talking about the Boko Haram this is the snapshot from the video that they did, mocking the community, saying they were going to sell these girls. This is an evil that comes straight from the pits of hell. It does. There's just no other way to describe it. And if you haven't followed it, and you don't know what's going on, if you haven't talked to the people on the ground there, they face death every day. They're trying to help other Christians, and they're trying to help other people in the community, but this is horrible. The torture and slaughter that is going unchecked in this area is unfathomable by most people in the West. The very name Boko Haram means Western education is sinful, and this vitriol that is attacking innocent schoolgirls, it's an abomination. This group is not the only terrorist group that holds to this. Remember, the Taliban have also attacked schoolgirls. They've shot them. It's time for the world to say enough. And what really disturbed me while I was getting ready to do this post, I read an article, and I believe it was in Debka File, that the UN was backed by Iran. They rescued rebels from the Syrian city of Homs as Assad was trying to retake it. Now, if you know a little bit of history about that area, and I've talked to people on the ground from there, so this is true, they're playing kind of a game, the army and the rebels, and we know that the rebels are being backed by Middle Eastern states and the Western leaders. But Assad pulled out of this area. The Christians in this area were afforded a little bit of protection with Assad, but when he pulled out, the rebels took over, and the rebels slaughtered Christians like crazy. The Christians put their trust in Assad, and when he pulled out, the rebels attacked and killed them. In some areas, they are made to pay a tax. Well, it's called jizya. In order to live there, and they either convert or die. I mean, this is serious, and it's getting more and more serious. It's straight out of Revelation. It's straight out of Ezekiel, Daniel, Isaiah. Psalm 83, they all talk about this. They also said the rebels did, that Iran was the only one that could rescue them. And it shows that Iran, not Russia, is stronger. Well, like I said, this is prophesied. This is what they believe. This is not a civil war for the people raising up against Assad. This is a holy war between the different Islamic factions that are fighting each other to bring about their end time and their Messiah. It is. That's the way it's happening. What really got me about this is they can rescue murderers. They can rescue the very rebels who are cutting the hearts out of children or people over there and beheading people and slaughtering innocent Christians, but they can't rescue schoolgirls and put a stop to the slaughter of innocents in Nigeria. It's time to say enough. It's time to demand that your pastors and your church speak about this. It's time to demand, let's do some mission work if you want to do mission work, but let's aid these people who are fleeing these countries, especially, and seeking a safe environment. The ones that are asking, what did we do to deserve this? No one even thinks about us anymore. I hear that all the time. I do. And all they ask for really is prayer. They don't want to come here and live off of everyone else. They want a better life. They want to be able to work without having to look over their shoulders. That's all they want. And how many of us could deal with what they have, and their faith is stronger than any Christian I have ever known. The persecuted's faith. They know that God is with them. It's just unbearable. This beast over there, it's growing, and it's time for the world leaders to be held accountable. There's the World Economic Forum is going on in Abuja right now, as they still have these girls and these attacks happening by the Boko Haram. Why not cancel the World Economic Forum and concentrate on ridding the world of this evil? It's prophesied. One thing that really struck home with me when I found out they were having this World Economic Forum in Abuja during the time when these girls are kidnapped and when these attacks in Nigeria happen was the part in the Bible where it talks about, they will come in the last days and they will divide the spoil. That's exactly what they're doing. This economic forum, Nigeria and the whole of Africa is oil rich and mineral rich. It's time for them to say stop it. It's time for us to say stop it. It's time to pay attention and hold these leaders accountable. Like I said, you can read this article in its entirety if you like. I want to move on to this article. It's a blog that I follow quite a bit, Midnight Watchers Blogspot. He has an article this morning called Christian Church in Iran Growing Despite Threats of Death. We all know that Pastor Saeed Abedini is in prison over there. Right now he's in the hospital seeking treatment from the torture and the beatings that he took. But Iran's new president has promised to protect the country's Christians, but the attacks are intensifying. These promises, these empty promises that we're hearing from the leaders in the Middle Eastern country are just that. They are empty promises. They are not decreasing attacks on Christians. They are not upholding the rights of Christians. The attacks are intensifying. They haven't released Pastor Abedini, even though the world is giving them more freedom and more power. They haven't released him. Their threats against Israel and the United States remain. Death to the U.S. Israel will be wiped from the face of the map. But what I found so interesting, as they work to survive, CBN News is reporting this, there's a rare view that few outsiders witness, a secret meeting of new Iranian believers in a neighboring country not far from the border. The brand new followers of Christ received Bible training and participated in their very first communion. And they're even baptizing. I mean, how many churches in the West would run to the woods or run in hiding and still take communion, still praise God, still baptize if they were faced with the death threats and the torture that these people are facing? Keep Iran in your prayers also. There are many brothers and sisters there, and they're receiving visions every day of Jesus Christ. This is true. This is not made up. I spoke with one person from another country, Muslim-dominated. The Muslims there are receiving visions of Jesus Christ, and they're coming to know the Lord and giving their life to Him. And they have to leave their town immediately, because when it becomes known that they turned to Jesus instead of Islam, they're killed. And that is not That's not made up. That is happening, and it's happening today. And evidently it's happening more and more in the UK. It's coming here. It's coming to this country. I don't know how else to wake people up. That's all I have for today. I just wanted to touch briefly on some of the persecution headlines and what's going on, and ask that the body of Christ unite, that we unite in prayer, that we unite in caring for our brothers and sisters. It's going to fall down to us. You say there's agencies that will provide. They don't, and they won't. This falls to us as Christians. If you hear of someone or you see of someone in need of aid or assistance, don't turn your back away. Write to your representatives. There are some that are speaking out. They're having prayers. Write to them and tell them that you're backing them, that we need to stop this. President Obama needs to speak out against this persecution. And again, we know that this was going to happen. Jesus warned us many times. He warned us that we would be hated by all men because of him. We were warned that we would be sought after. Jesus said, in fact, a time will come when they who will kill you will think they are doing a service to God. We are witnessing that today. Pray for our brothers and sisters. Pray for those in persecution. Pray for those fleeing from persecution. And I pray every day for God to show his mercy to all people, not just Christians. Like I said before, Jesus Christ is appearing in visions to many from the Middle Eastern countries to lead them to him. Pray for them also. And until next time, stay prayed up, packed up, and ready to go.